Okay, guys. I know this is a lot of information to consume, but I'm just gonna explain this just so we can start. Long story short, I moved to Austin, Texas last year, August 21st. Everything's good. I'm in the union. I'm sponsored out the union from Local 60 in San Antonio. I was driving back and forth every single day for about a year. It made sense to move to Austin, seeing as how I was working in Austin and I had a job in Austin. It made sense to actually live in Austin. It just, as far as my career goes, it made sense to make that move. I made the move. Long story short, like a bunch of negative stuff started happening to me. Like as soon as I got over here, I basically lost my job. My personal vehicle got repossessed, so I lost my job. Then I lost my company vehicle. I was basically going through it. That's not here nor there. I move in August 21st, 2023. I'm on Snapchat. This is a major part of the story as I started getting a bunch of attention from celebrities. There was a bunch of stuff going on. There's so much stuff that I documented as far as psychological tactics and the government and influencers and the scope of America in general. I'm just a young dude, an individual wilding out on Snapchat, minding my own business. I go to work every single day. I move into Estancia Villas. I just picked this spot on a whim. It's literally like the first exit northbound if you're coming from San Antonio into pretty much South Austin is what they call it. So I'm here. It's September. Like I said, I moved and immediately negative stuff started happening to me. That's not here nor there. I was able to stick through it and make do with what I had. September 1st hits. And essentially there's this company called UDR that buys out Steadfast Management, which was the previous owner of Estancia Villas, the complex that I moved into. I moved in August 21st, paid the down payment, made all the moves, all the necessary stuff, got the hookups, the electrical, everything. I know I'm all over the place right now, but it's gonna make sense pretty soon. Now, it's September. I'm going through it essentially. I'm trying to find a job. I just moved in. And it's September 15th. I wasn't able to even pay the first month's rent for me moving into September until the 15th because they basically had management, a shift in management. They were switching their systems, their software, their apps, everything. Everything was getting switched around because some $15 billion corporation essentially just bought out the prior management and started changing everything up. So I wasn't even allowed to pay rent. Not just me, everybody in this complex. There's 300 and something units in here. It's a very big complex. It's a development. I think Estancia Hill Country or something is the developer, and then Estancia Villas is the owner of the complex. They got bought out. You could not pay rent no matter who you were until September 15th. Now, on September 21st, I get a notice to vacate again. So I move in August 21st, pay the down payment, pay everything that I need to move, and then boom, I make the move. I'm inside. It's September 1st. You can't even pay rent. They shift everything around. Management, $1 billion corporation buys everything. They're switching everything up, smart locks, all kinds of stuff, new software, new apps to pay. You're not allowed to pay rent until the 15th. Now, again, I mentioned I was going through it. Community director comes to my door September 25th to hand me a notice to vacate. Now, I mentioned Snapchat and me being an individual because the scope of America, there's a lot involved in here right now. I know I'm all over the place, but just bear with me. Snapchat, there's a whole lot of visual communications. There's a lot going on online, but I'm able to separate my online life from anything in reality, in real life, right? This is before I even knew that any personnel was included in any RICO charge, before things got complicated, before anything, right? This is what they bring to me here. They evict me. This is how much my rent is. Keep in mind, I wasn't like just like some dude off the street. Like I had a legitimate job. I was a foreman for an electrical company. I'm a licensed journeyman in the state of Texas. A very hard thing to do. I just happen to have some bad luck. But again, I mentioned I came in August 21st and basically stayed here for like 9 or 10 days. And then again, there was some sort of change in management which prohibited me from paying any type of rent until September 15th. That actually ended up working out for me because, again, like I mentioned, I was going through it. So I get evicted. On September 25th, the director shows up with a notice to vacate. So I was good on August 1st. September hits. I can't pay rent until the 15th. And then basically on the 25th, 10 days after that point, I get a notice to vacate. So I had moved in. Nobody knows me from anywhere. And you're telling me that within not even a whole month has elapsed, like I'm already getting a notice to vacate. Again, I mentioned Snapchat because the online aspect coincides with how I know what I know. There's a lot of snooping going on. There's a lot of nonsense going on. But look at how they attempted to evict me. Just look at this petition. This is my rent. They went to JP3, right? They're suing me for September, October, November. It says the amount of rent claimed as of this date of filing is $4,068. This is literally the amount that I needed and was paid on my behalf for me to basically not have any rent owed. There are literally 0 lease violations. It says the defendant breached the terms of the lease. Nope, they didn't check that. Plaintiff reserves the right to orally amend the amount at trial to include rent due from the date of filing through the date of trial. Nope. You go down a little further here. This is more to the Austin system here, but I'm just going over this very quickly so you can understand the situation, how complicated it is right now. Notice to vacate. They delivered this on September 21st. Sue for rent. Plaintiff does or does not include a suit for unpaid rent. Attorney fees will not be seeking. So you're not seeking attorney fees. You're not seeking unpaid rent. You delivered a notice to vacate. According to this, like 9 or 10 days earlier than you should if I moved in August 21st and was good until September 1st and then couldn't pay rent until September 15th. Why the fuck would you give me a notice to vacate at this point in time? I didn't even get an opportunity, to be honest. And the reason why this number was even this high in the first place is because they have a system that essentially offsets your payment. So if you don't pay 100% of the amount, you're not allowed to pay. I know that seems ridiculous living in America where you have legal tender and you should be able to just submit payment. So even if I had 80% of what I owed, hypothetically speaking, this number right here, even if I had 80%, even if I had sent over a document with my work information on it, even if I said you can call my employer, even if I had made an attempt to show you that, hey, I had some bad luck and I'm on track right now. And look at the amount of time. Look at the amount of time. September, I told you I moved in August 21st, 2023 with everything paid, and then a $15 billion corporation bought out my apartment complex. I mentioned that because I am managed to amount some sort of infamy. And I'm mentioning this because I was going back and forth with celebrities essentially online. I'm just a single dude, just minding my own business here. But when I say I was looking for bae online, it's essentially like I was looking for like a partner, right? And you're met with a bunch of nonsense because they're a bunch of streetwalkers. And this is, again, where the scope of America comes into play, because the selection, the choices that are out there right now, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting 100% ridiculous right now. So you can't even have anything decent to be 100%. So again, there's an algorithm. There's a way to decode the algorithm. It's just one app. I was using Snapchat. They break it down into the top is your friend zone, people that you've added directly. You may have gotten their username from somewhere, or you met them somewhere and then you've added them. You guys have mutually agreed to be friends. And then there's the discover, people who put their profiles public. And then they've got the channels who try to make like a show or something like that, and then they're almost professionals or whatever. So there's different tiers to Snapchat. Again, I stopped trying to focus on the friend zone. I stopped even looking at Discover, and then I started looking at the Snap Stars. The Snap Stars themselves, or you would think that the choices would be, the selection would be a little bit better. And again, this is where the double speak comes into play. Going back and forth in the visual communications, you turn to get better at communicating with people. A picture is worth 1,000 words. You can decode a picture, you can generate a picture, all kinds of things to convey a message, to have a conversation. Essentially, is what we call double speak. Is what has been has been going on here. I'm recording this on a Saturday, by the way. I'm not in any public place, or I'm just at home chilling right now. I just need to get this out because there's so much going on right now that like I feel like we need to actually have this document so people can understand what the heck is going on with this dude. So I'm on Snapchat. Long story short, what I'm trying to say is that I had amassed some sort of infamy, and people started like, oh, well, here's this dude and whatever, he's saying this and that, he's saying this and that about celebrities. To be honest with you, you would assume that people can watch action movies or whatever the heck without being influenced. You know what I mean? But basically what started happening was I was going back and forth with the celebrities, and then they were coming back with me. So I have thick skin, like, you're not gonna hurt me, you know what I mean, saying anything, and I'm not here to complain about anything that somebody has said. If anything, I probably ended up hurting people worse than anything they could have said to me, to be honest with you. My complaint is that at a certain point, I started to realize that, hey, the information that they're like portraying, or the insults they're coming back with, this isn't even like something that I put out there. Like, they started to get information as in like what I had in my bank account. And again, when I say this, I was prompting stuff like, hey, it's me versus the 1%, you know what, or whatever, you know what I mean? And like, hey, you guys are worshiping me because I'm getting all this attention for no reason. Like, why would you bring me up to this level, etc., right? Me versus the 1%. Next thing I know, billion-dollar corporation buys out my apartment complex. I'm just saying. Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. I'm online, minding my own business. This billion-dollar corporation buys my apartment complex. And again, I've broken it down. I've already broken the algorithm down. You could say something and then somebody will essentially reply to your statement or reply to your post by also posting. And this is where time and date become extremely relevant. Extremely relevant. As I could post something and then I could open up and see my replies by seeing what someone else posted. This is the generation that we live in. I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just saying this is where we are, to be honest. And again, there's so much involved in here right now. I'm gonna get to the story as to where we got to where we are, but yeah. So I get evicted I get a notice to vacate September 21st. And basically I have from September 21st to like October 21st for me to get this money. I'm in the middle of Austin. I do not have a vehicle. I do not have a company vehicle. I just lost all that. I'm coming from the union. I'm still an electrician. Long story short, I was able to pull that off. Like, I was able to use Uber to get to different locations, wherever it was economically feasible for me to get money. I was able to pull that off. I had about like $3,000, $4,000 in my bank account. And what I'm suggesting by me being able to pay, like, I would call every day and call my like managers and say, hey, this happened to me. I even sent like a whole letter to them, like, hey, I sat down and generated a whole document, like, this happened to me, this is what's been going on, and every week I would essentially be checking in, like, hey, I basically am attempting to pay rent. I just kind of had some hard times, some bad luck, but I am making an attempt to pay rent. I ended up getting a job like 10 minutes away. It was a firehouse, like $36 an hour. I would take the Uber over there. The Uber wasn't that expensive. It was probably like 10, $15 one way, just depending on time and date, place, wherever, location, I should say. And then boom, everything was good. It was just like I would have been like 1 week behind, right? So again, I'm gonna just reiterate. I know I've been talking for like 15 minutes, right? But let me just reiterate everything. I've been driving to Austin for an entire year. I'm part of the union, company vehicle, all kinds of stuff. I end up moving to Austin, finally making the move, and then lose my job like right away. And then also lose my personal vehicle right away, right? I move in August 21st. UDR buys out my apartment complex like September. And then boom, they switch everything up. You're not allowed to even make any payments or anything until the 15th. I get a notice to vacate on the 21st. On the 21st, from that point, I was going to work every day, trying to figure out what's what, where to get a job without a vehicle, you know what I mean? And I was actually able to make that happen, like for $36 an hour, and then finding an economically feasible location, I was actually able to make that work. So for September to August like 21st, I was just working. Like I just didn't have a car. Like I was just working. And like pretty much every week, I would call into management and say, hey, this is what's been going on. I got this and that and this and that. They would not allow me to make a single payment whatsoever. Even if it was even if it was 50%, even if it was 80%. Long story short, by November 1st, right, I had called in. It was like the final time I had called in. I was like, hey, by November 1st, I'm basically going to have like 95% of what I need to make the payment. I can make an 80% payment, and then the next week I will be able to make the full payment. So by November, essentially, I would have been able to pay everything that I owed, right? I would have been able to pay that amount that I owed, and then the following week, I would have just been able to pay the remainder, the remaining 20%, and everything would have been good. What I'm getting at is that the system prohibited me from making any partial payment at all. Like I wouldn't even be able to make this, like, hey, take this much money and then boom. No, they wouldn't take that at all. So that's not here nor there. Again, treating people with world-class respect while dealing with some nonsense online. And I'm talking about like celebrities like Drake. And I've got documents over documents of what I've been experiencing in 2023 before I even got into the legal system and figured out how to navigate the legal system or do anything, right? This is like I was essentially just able to. Yeah, I'm freestyling this whole entire video. I'm sorry. I know I'm not gonna jump cut. I'm not gonna do anything. I don't have time for that. I've literally been making documents, and I'm arguing with people in court now. It's a bunch. Then I gotta work and do a high-end job. My life's crazy right now. So please forgive me for making the video long and drawn out and freestyling the video. I apologize. So September passes, October passes, it's now November. By November 1st, authorized agent of the community here goes and petitions, and this is the original petition, right? This is the original petition. They petitioned to evict me on November 1st. But again, let me just reiterate the contents of this document. It says unpaid rent. They go September, October, November. As far as this document is concerned, though, the date of the filing, this is how much they've collected. And then they can only amend it to really go up as far as like any other date past that. So as far as November, they filed this on November 1st. And look, here's the date. Here's the date right here. As far as November 1st, 2023, at 5:25 p.m. when this is filed, and it was date and time stamped, I did not owe anything for rent. This is literally the exact amount. I did not owe a single dollar for rent. Not only did I not owe a single dollar for rent, right? I didn't have any lease violations. I wasn't a bad tenant. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was literally here working, letting management know, hey, I'm still the same guy you guys approved the lease for, and I just happen to fall on some bad luck. I'm making an attempt. Here it is. Can I make some payments? They wouldn't allow me to make any payments. It was just like all or nothing. And that's really a testament to how dumb their system is. Again, look at this rent for a 600 square foot. I'm not even complaining. I'm just saying there's a lot involved right now. And the homelessness in Austin in general, like, and their system in general prohibiting you from even making a partial payment. So imagine showing up to rent and you're not even allowed to like make a payment. So I was just sitting on money, if that makes any sense. Like, I couldn't even make it 80, even if I had 80% of this amount right here, like I couldn't even make that payment. And I swear I have it documented, even emails, I've got phone calls. It's like, look, I'm trying to make a payment or something so it doesn't look so bad, obviously. But like they wouldn't even accept it. So just like months and months and months, it was just offset. It would just offset and then boom. But the date of this filing, right? And this is where they fucked up. The date of the filing, they literally put this is how much they had. It says the amount of rent claimed as of the date of the filing literally is this much right here. So November 1st, I didn't owe anything. Not only did I not owe anything, but I didn't have any lease violations. Not only did I not have any lease violations, but they're also not suing the plaintiff. Like, I mean, they're not suing the defendant, right? For any unpaid rent. This is the craziest part. They're not suing for any attorney fees, any applicable attorney fees, nothing. And that's the end of it. That's literally the end of the petition. They were essentially just suing me for right of possession. Like, hey, you can leave. But I mentioned the Snapchat thing because the double speak, I had become so good at that. Like, this is where I recognized that they were monitoring me. And then the UDR buys out my apartment complex. They put thermal cameras on the outside of my thing. It's me versus the 1%. They're snooping on me. Like, bro, they hacked into my phone. Essentially is reporting on me. Like the screenshot, I've got all kinds of documents formally setting the scene, explaining what it is that I'm just freestyling about right now, right? So I'm telling you, this is the original petition. For one, have you ever seen an eviction like this? Have you ever one time seen an eviction where a tenant had all of his rent paid and he didn't violate the lease, and then the plaintiff is not suing them for any unpaid rent and also not any attorney? Have you ever seen a case like this, right? You've never seen that. Now here goes the next level here. So this is the apartment complex, Estancia Villas versus LLC versus Allen Way. They generated this document, right? And again, I was under, it was like world-class respect. I just had the intent, I was gonna pay everything, you know what I mean? And then boom, 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 boom. Long story short, the online intervenes because, again, I'm living life thinking that I have privacy. I'm living life thinking I can go outside, do whatever it is that I need to do, and come back inside and then rest my head and have privacy. Like, my privacy has been eroded. I have zero sense of privacy. And again, this isn't like, oh, I can post and then we can look and we can double speak and we can go off each other's posts. Like, they were subtly letting me know that they were monitoring me. They were subtly letting me know that they have information on me. They were subtly letting me know that they have information from inside my house and like privacy. And there's no other way they could know. There's literally no other way they could have this information. Because I'm telling you right now, for instance, I got off of Snapchat, had taken a hiatus off of Snapchat. And again, I would get on YouTube and then boom, all of these thumbnails and different types of imageries and gaslight, it would still let me know. And I have documents, it's formally set, right? There's 300 points that I'm trying to prove at the same time here. I'm sorry. Like, if the story had been cut off, I was waiting to get to the end so I could formulate a thesis, but the more and more I waited, the more and more different elements got involved, and now we're just here. So I apologize again. Yeah, but the double speaking online, it basically got to the point where it's not like, oh, I could put art online or something, someone can criticize it. It got to the point where like they were letting me know Hey, we know the text messages that you sent. Hey, we know the phone calls that you had. We know the people that you're talking to. We know what kind of activities you're doing. We know what type of pornography you're watching. We know anything that I do using my phone. They would reflect to me in a subtle way that, hey, we've been watching you and we know this information about you. And again, I don't know if I prompted this by talking to the 1%, but basically some videos and some photos were released on Snapchat that really originated and initiated everything. It was me and this chick online naked doing whatever, right? And yeah, it became like the head jokes. And there's so much involved in this, but just to simplify the story, because there's like multiple class action lawsuits that I'll actually need to handle in court right now regarding Alphabet, regarding iPhone, and their affiliates, right? But I didn't know the RICO extended past like those entities and then extended into like this UDR, this $15 billion corporation that bought my apartment complex and essentially had their authorized agents put a thermal camera on the outside in conjunction with my screen sharing or them screen sharing my screen involuntarily along with the read and write aspect that I have everything documented formally on. And I know I'm freestyling this video, but there's going to be more information that comes out on it too. But where everything gets connected as far as being in real life is because these guys right here, Estancia Villas LLC, is connected with that $15 billion corporation that they bought out. And then now they're having their authorized agents essentially do nonsense like the thermal cameras, and again in conjunction with like the screen share and the read write aspect, the gaslighting and the double speak. I was able to unveil so much. So when they sued me for this, which isn't even, there's no merit, there's no cause, right? There's no merit, there is no cause. By the time everything dawned on me, it was like, okay, now that I recognize the situation, the gravity of the situation that I'm in and what's been going on and how they just try to like evict me, like, hey, just get out of here, and good show that you put on. Because they've been watching me like ever since I moved in for like, excuse me, pretty much for this time right here. Every day it's just been adding to, so I would open up and then boom, how are you getting this information? I'm not posting what I'm eating. How would you know what's in my bank account? You know what I'm saying? How would you know the conversation? How would you know who I'm speaking with? And then they would reflect it. And then so I have visual communications that I'm going to submit as exhibits in the case to basically build my case, to show you how I know what I know and how it's relevant, again, with the time and date stamp. And again, I thought this was just in the context of Snapchat. I had to take a hiatus off of Snapchat, right? Just for me to recognize that it was Alphabet, just for me to recognize that it was iPhone, just for me to recognize a lot of stuff. It wasn't just like yesterday, or I just woke up and then boom, here's a thesis. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like that. It was like, and I'm a troubleshooter. I'm literally my job, independent of any of this legal stuff, is literally to diagnose electrical systems and figure out what the issue is. Like, the job that I was at before I even got arrested for this nonsense, like they're paying like $160,000 of sales, which is also involved with like technical skills. You have to be like very good at customer service, conflict resolution, problem resolution, all kinds of stuff. Like, it doesn't take like some Joe blow off the street to do what I'm doing, right? Again, I'm just saying this because I just happen to have some bad luck. And to be honest, probably thank God that I discovered this, because there's so many levels to this. And this affects so many people's lives beyond myself. Like, it just seems like I'm all over the place, but please just bear with me. So, that's a double speak, the gaslighting. Essentially talking to millionaires. It's like me versus the 1%. I've been saying that so many times, and the reason why I was saying that was because I don't like how they move. I'm from Africa. My family's from Africa. I'm looking at my family. We're all like moral people, you know. And then, yeah, look at the scope of America. I'm just saying. So when you stand for something, they call you a lame. They call you all kinds of stuff. They call you a nerd, all kinds of stuff. You decide to have a career. They try to talk trash about you. it's not looking good out here for decent people, to be honest, to be 100% honest with you. So it's like I'm just attracting attention just being like a good person. And at the same time, I'm a good person. I'm not like a doormat. So if you say something to me, you're going to get it back tenfold. And that's where it is with these celebrities. I don't know if it was like, oh, how dare you say that about a celebrity? We just kept going back and forth. There were girls involved and all kinds of stuff right now. But that's just part of the story, is what initiated the story. So when they had basically attempted to evict me, I was on stage essentially from like this point in time. Like I would just go on my own business, come back home, do my thing, cook, and they would just replicate any activity that I did or any function that I did or any, even if it was minuscule, right? They would just replicate that to me and just subtly let me know that they were doing it through the visual community. And when I say they, I mean apps, I mean my phone, I mean anytime I would pick up my device and look at it, there would be something, and this is where your IQ needs to come into play. That's why I mentioned my credibility, where I come from, what I do for a living, because I know the information that I'm giving out there is so out the ordinary. It's so unusual. But look who it's coming from. It's not coming from somebody out here just doing crack. It's not coming from someone out here just in the streets. It's not coming from someone who couldn't figure it out. Like I moved to Austin out here to continue my career. You know, I just happened to have some bad luck, which actually ended up being beneficial for me, long story short. But I just had to go through it, I guess. So, okay, now that I've given you the introduction, I know I've been absent, I know I've been MIA, and now I've given you the introduction as to what I've been dealing with online as an individual and my intentions and then my backstory. Here's what actually happened. So November 1st, I get this, I actually have, November 16th was the date that I actually needed to go to court, right? November 16th, but November 1st was the date this information was filed. Anybody with common sense would understand that. So November 1st, I was debt free. They were literally telling me like, hey, just like you can leave. It's not gonna be on your record. You know what I mean? This is not gonna be on the record. You can just leave and then boom, you can get out of here. Like, good show. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what it was, right? Everything's paid. Now, December 1st comes along and then I recognize that, hey, there is no other way they could be getting this information because I'm not posting anything, right? There's no other way they could be getting this information from me. Because essentially they were trying to humiliate me. They were trying to put me on blast, and like I had to countersue Estancia Villas. I countersued them for like 32 charges and an additional charge for their involvement in this nonsense, which is actually a RICO, racketeering and influence corrupt organizations. And that's really what it is. Do I have the document on here to show you what I sued them for? Let me see. Yes, actually, that's what I'll do here. I'll do it this way.